Wolfpack Nation? We are back, baby, for part 2 of our NC State ACC Wrestling Tournament preview, baby. Here again with Michael Macchiavello, 2019 national champion. If you haven't checked out part 1 yet, make sure to go and do that first, and then come right back here as we continue this conversation here. But again, we basically left off here at 165, which is, again, is another freshman, who's been very, very impressive in Matt Singleton, for sure, especially looking at the rest of the ACC, where you have 4 guys ranked in the top 30. Matt Singleton is ranked number 26 right now. But, again, Mike, to me, it just goes back to, again, like we were saying in the first part, where just the future of NC State wrestling is so, so bright. And I think with Matt Singleton, I mean, first of all, pulling off that huge overtime win over Connor Brady from Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech, I think says a lot about him. The fact that he's able, in a tough environment, against a really good wrestler who's a sophomore, so he has the experience that Matt Singleton doesn't, to step up and make the plays when he needed to get that win. I thought was huge, and really said a lot about what this guy could do in terms of where his ceiling can go.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Maddie and a lot of those guys in that freshman class are gamers, man. I think Wolfpack is going to see a lot of amazing things come out of that freshman class that came in this past year, and
yep.
A lot of them got a lot of great head on their shoulders. They're focused and they want to be good, and so if you don't see them now, I think there's going to be some guys that you see later. And Maddie's one of the guys that we're lucky enough to see now, and I think he'll continue to improve also. But yeah, he's shown a lot of really good upside, and I'm excited for him. Part of it is just the experience, and that was, I think, the first half of the season, and even then, I think he's still learning, just like everybody else is. So again, nothing but incredibly positive stuff to say and things that I've seen from Maddie so far.
No, absolutely agree with that for sure. And especially too, looking at, what he's done even beforehand, like, he didn't necessarily even start the whole season either. Pat was, cycling a couple other guys in to, see what he had in them as well. Obviously lost,
Look, man, you got to pay your dues, man.
Hey, you got to prove it. Yeah.
You got to prove it. At the end of the day, you can be as talented as you want to be, but you got to show up when it counts, and you got to get the results. And, I think about this. I think people forget. My combined record, my first 2 years of college, was 24 wins and 27 losses.
I love that you have that memorized, too. I love that.
Dude, I mean, I was lower than 50-50. And so, for the Wolfpack fans that kind of are a little – he's not blah, blah, blah. Patience, man, because it's a grind. College wrestling is a whole different ballgame, and people don't realize it. It can depend on the day. It can depend on a lot of things, and you got to be you got to have everything put together, especially for when it comes to the postseason. But nonetheless, I think these guys are figuring it out.
Like even in like, see, this is another thing which I love about wrestling is that you could literally be down 15-1, and then just one mistake by that opponent, and you can pin him. And instead of 5 points that way, you're getting 6 points your way. Like it's just one mistake. It's a
crazy
one moment.
Crazy game, man.
Yeah, like there's no other sport that's like that. Like
think about fighting almost. You could be losing the fight the whole time, but you make one mistake and you get knocked out. The match is over, and a pin is the equivalent, right? The match is over. You get pinned, it's done, and so. That can happen at any moment in the match. And so, I mean, it's a crazy game, man. But that's part of what makes March for wrestling such a crazy event, because you see some of the craziest stuff happen. Guys you would never think go down. Guys that you never think make it to the finals. I mean, it's nuts, man. Talk about March Madness. That tournament is madness.
Well, and that's why, last year I remember we had on Fanco Wrestling, and one of the things that was kind of the highlight where he was kind of raving, saying Trent Hidley is undefeated. Why doesn't he have the number 1 seed? And to me, I understand what he's saying. Especially for me, I'm like, hey, I'm always one to proponent saying an in-state guy should get more respect. But I'm sitting here going, I mean, whether he's 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. It's going to be a tough, road to get there no matter what. So I'm sitting here going,
Absolutely.
I mean, like you may say, well, he might have an easier, road. I'm like, easy road. Like you're going to face guys that are going to be hungry, that are going to be really, really talented, really experienced. Like, so just bring it on. Whoever's going to have you, hey, that's whoever you're going to have. That's why I look at it. So
totally agree.
So, so yeah, definitely, for me, I'm excited to see what Matt can do, and obviously, bouncing back, obviously, lost a really close match against Pitt.
Also, true freshman. Also, true
I know,
freshman.
true freshman, but and then he came back against UNC and pulled off a great win over Joe Missouri from UNC, 7-2 decision. So, again, excited what this guy can do. So just hold on tight and let's see what happens here. But 174. So our guy Faison. Now we can finally talk about him.
Let's go.
I feel like this guy, man, does he have his work cut out for him at the tournament this year? Obviously facing Clay Lout and Mekhi Lewis, who I know Hayden Hidlay knows all too well for sure. And first thing which I do gotta say too, I loved watching the UNC match and watching. I think Hayden Hidlay during Faison's match was the biggest cheerleader of all time. I mean, like you could tell that it was personal for Hayden that even Faison pulls this off. To get a win over Clay Lout. Did you kind of get that vibe from him?
So I was watching it on the TV, so I wasn't live at the event, so I didn't get to see all of it, so I didn't really get to catch that part. But that makes me smile, man. I love that.
Yeah. No. Well, again, I mean, even before that match, all they were showing was freaking Clay Lout's pin against Hayden Hidlay. And it's like, listen, man, you didn't show the rest of that match where Hayden was dominating the whole time. But just like we said, he made one mistake, got a little too low, and Clay Lout made him pay for it. It's. But I can guarantee you, if you ask anybody, ain't nobody's going to take Clay Lout over Hayden Hidlay or even Mekhi Lewis if they wrestle 10 times. It ain't going to happen. I'm taking Hayden or Mekhi over Clay Lout every time, so just simple facts. But anyway, so talking about Faison here. So, I think for me, again, I think this is definitely in my head, Mekhi's to lose for sure. But Faison was very, very respectable when he faced Mekhi Lewis, losing by decision. Looking at it right here, lost 8-2. So, still a decision, not a major decision, but I mean, what's your kind of thoughts in terms of what does Faison need to do, to pull off the upset?
Well, I think those guys are probably going to wrestle a different Faison than they did.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be over a month ago.
I think Mekhi is going to see a different Faison than he did over a month ago, like you said. Yeah. I think, too, his confidence is the highest it's ever been, especially with a win like that. A dominant win, a very controlled win over a two-time All-American. And I think, wins like that are breakthrough wins because you're good, you compete in the room well, and then you go out and against these matches and you hope to get one of these breakthroughs wins, and a win like that is what I call a breakthrough win. He's finally broken through, and now he should be giving himself permission to believe I'm a problem. I'm a real problem, and he should be very, very excited about the postseason. He should be very, very excited about what he can accomplish going into the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament because it's just those are really, really exciting moments for guys that you see work their tail off day in and day out and pour their heart and soul into their craft, and Faison's one of those guys. So I think ultimately that's a guy that people involved in the program should be really, really happy for and really, really excited for because coming from the state of North Carolina, we're not the hotbed of wrestling like some of these other states where you're Pennsylvania or the Midwest or the Northeast. And so we kind of get slept on as a state. And that's one thing that used to carry me throughout my college career was just having a massive chip on my shoulder. And Faison's one of those guys that has a massive chip on his shoulder. And I'm so proud of him because he's repping North Carolina incredibly well. And so it's just awesome to see him finally break through with some big wins like that. And so I think Mekhi's going to see a different Faison. And I think I'm just really excited about postseason for him. And
yeah, well, especially because I think with Faison, especially since this is his last year, I think he's going to put it all on the line. So I think that if Mekhi Lewis wins, it's just going to be because Mekhi Lewis is better. I think that's really what it's going to come down to for me. It's not, it's going to be a heck of a match. I think it's going to be closer than the 8-2 decision that they had a month ago. And also too, that's on a neutral site. Not a neutral site. It's at a home site instead of at Virginia Tech even as well.
But dude, you never know what can happen. I mean, Mekhi Lewis beat Vincenzo Joseph as a freshman in his college career. No one saw that coming.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of college wrestling. Yeah. There's opportunities for wins to happen that nobody's going to see coming. And I don't necessarily – I'm not disagreeing with you, but I just think there's an incredible amount of upside.
For sure. Oh, no doubt.
And again, of course, I'm biased. I'm an alumni of the Wolfpack. You know what I mean? I wrestled and I see these guys work hard and I love these dudes. But it's like, look, man, it's the truth though. It's the truth.
Well, I guess really kind of my point is that Faison, in my opinion, has nothing to lose. Like they're not expecting him to beat Mekhi Lewis. They're not expecting to beat Clay Lout twice in a row.
That's the guy who's the most dangerous.
Exactly.
The guy who has nothing to lose is the guy who's the most dangerous.
I love it.
Right? There's this book called The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Yep. And he said it's not the warrior who fights to prevent death who's the most dangerous. It's the warrior who has already accepted death who is the most dangerous. And I think what you just said it right there is he's got nothing to lose. It's like he's already accepted it. And every single ounce of heart, soul, and fight that he has will get left out there from now until the end of March. And that's what is so exciting about being able to watch a guy like Alex Faison.
I'm hype, man. You got me going, man. I love it. Yeah, and I obviously too, I want to kind of end this too, give him major respect that he actually does have another year of eligibility if he wanted, but he said plainly that he's ready to move on and go serve our country. So we thank him for that for sure, and definitely give all respect to Alex for that as well. And I definitely see him ending his career at NC State, his college wrestling career, on a high note for sure. Looking forward to seeing him on Sunday. Now moving on to the guy, the raise the roof, the electric guitar playing guy himself, Trent Hiley, man. I love watching Trent Hiley wrestle. Every NC State fan should just if you can go get popcorn, and your hot dogs and your drinks during some matches, but during Trent Hiley's match, you are doing yourself a disservice if you're not in your seat watching this match. And honestly, I love it. The fact that I remember, I think it was, oh man, which match was it? I think it was maybe Binghamton, where he wrestled and like from the moment the referee started the match, he gave the Binghamton guy a big push, to kind of push him back. And I was like, what'd you do that for? Is that like a strategic thing? He's like, just sending a sign from the get go, and I'm like, oh, I love that. That's so cool. I love that. It's not for like a strategy that like he's trying to get him off balance to go get.
He's got a lot of edge and a lot of fu. Like as a competitor, he's kind. He's a respectful young man, and he's a gentleman off the mat. But when he steps into that circle,
he's a dog.
We're not friends.
No,
we're not friends.
We're the furthest thing from it.
And don't try to be either, because I'm not about to show you any respect. And I think that's part of what makes him such a great competitor is the edge that he competes with. And I think it's a killer be killed thing for him. It's not just a competition. It really is a killer be killed thing. And he's going out there trying to kill somebody. And I think that's why people get so excited to watch him compete, because he is the guy who lays it all out there and wrestles hard the entire match.
Now with Trent, we can't talk ACC for sure, but I think this is, he is the favorite to win it all, and I know that he expects nothing less than to go and win it all. Even if Hunter Bolin's number 7 in the country and he's 3, to him it's no, this is mine. I got this taken care of. But the thing which I did want to talk about with Trent was, I feel like with Trent, it's a same conversation as you had with Hayden, where with Hayden, he was a guy who was, a 2-time national title, match, finalist that, ended up not winning. And with Trent, same thing, where he's a guy that's been nationally competitive now his entire career. He's sitting here, Junior, with 2 years, and I'm sitting going, man, this guy, he deserves to get that national championship, and have a banner up in the stands, man. But I know that there's difference between deserving and earning it. But to me, it's like, man, I'm ready for him to go earn it. I'm ready for him to go get it done.
Man, I think this is his year, man. I really do. And I said that the year before also, but every year is that guy's year, man. Every year he does the work. Every year he makes the sacrifices. Every year he doesn't cut himself short on what he should be doing. And every year he wrestles hard and with heart. And I think when you have someone like that who does that year in and year out, it's literally only a matter of time.
Yep, exactly.
It's only a matter of time. It doesn't matter if it wasn't last year, it was going to be this year. If it's not this year, it's going to be next year. Vice versa. It's only a matter of time, and I think his time is coming, and I think he knows that. And he's not the type of guy that's going to take it for granted. He's not the type of guy that's going to take it lightly.
Yep.
He's not going to let the guy he's not the type of guy that's going to let the opportunity slip through his fingers. When it's there, he's going to be showing up. So
before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Well, and I actually do love the fact that he actually got pinned by the number 2 wrestler from Northern Iowa, just because what we were saying earlier, it's like,
keeps you honest.
Again, it just gives the possibility that Northern Iowa, if they faced again that Northern Iowa wrestler going into it, maybe a little bit of a thought of, well, I pinned this guy before, just a little bit, not necessarily saying he's going to go into it, but that thought could go through his head, and that thought going through his head could be the death of him, for if they face again, because Trent's going to be thinking about that, going, he ain't going to get me this time,
sure. Absolutely, man. I think it only makes you hungrier, and
exactly.
And sometimes I think it's tough for guys that have had success right out the gate and then fall short of the success maybe they had initially. It goes from being in the finals to not being in the finals and whatever. But I think realistically, it's not about the end result. It's about the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you fell short 2 inches or if you fell short 2 feet. It's all the same, and it's all about the ultimate goal, right? And so every time you fall short, let's say you ever seen like the America's Ninja Warrior where they're running up that wall and they got to grab the thing.
Yep.
The first time they run up, they might touch the top and their fingers might slip down. The next one, they might fall a little bit short, but it doesn't matter. You run up that ramp as many times as you need to until you catch it and you pull yourself up. And I think that's exactly what this type of situation is. He's so relentless. It doesn't matter how many times he needs to run up that ramp. It doesn't matter if he touches it and it slips off just his fingers, or if he's 2 feet underneath, he's going to keep running up that ramp as many times as he needs to until he catches himself and pulls himself up over the top. And I think that's why I'm really, really excited for him.
Well, and again, just I think really for Trent too, it's not only just for Trent, it's for Hayden even too. Hayden, just like you said, just unfortunately just ran out of opportunities to run up ladder. But I guarantee you that, if he was still wrestling even this year, he'd be taking Mekhi Lewis and all the top dogs, for giving them a run for their money for sure. So I'm telling you, for any NC State wrestling fan, a Trent Hidlay national championship would mean so much, so much. It'd be huge. So
you just can't give up, man. That's it.
Exactly.
And he's not going to give up. That kid's got nothing but fight in him.
Absolutely. So, and moving on to another guy, which, believe it or not, is only a sophomore, and it blows my mind about that every single day. But Isaac Trumbull, the guy that, I feel like he's been here forever, but he's only a sophomore, and so he's still got so much. But this guy, oh man, he's a guy that I love. As a person, he's one of the coolest guys, and but awesome, he's a guy that he will get pinned or pin the guy. That's just kind of my thing. It's just the consistency is just, it's so frustrating. Now the one thing which I did want to ask, so did you watch his match against Pitt, against Nino Barnicassi from Pitt? Did you watch that match?
I did. I was Matt's side for that match.
Did you think that was an illegal slam?
It's funny because in freestyle, we have a similar position where we have this head pinch where if someone takes a shot, we square up our hips, we lock up the same type of lock around the chest, and we thrust our hips in and we throw them back over.
Okay.
Well, sometimes if you feel like you don't have that ability, you thrust your hips in, and what your opponent do is they start to go flat.
Yep.
And what you do is you release, you drop everything, and you run corner. So you almost fake the head pinch like you're going to take them all the way through.
Right.
And so they react as if they're getting ready to go through, and then you drop and release.
Okay.
And so to me, that's exactly what that looked like. Now, maybe you can argue that he was doing it on purpose, so he's aggressive. But I've done that to guys in the room where I'm trying to threaten head pinch, and I release, and I'm running corner. And most of the time it doesn't look as bad. Maybe it does. I don't know. There's not a camera on me, but that one probably just happened to look a little worse than normal. But
that's what I'm thinking.
I don't think it was anything that was like, let me try and deliberately cause harm to my opponent.
Pedigree this guy. Triple H pedigree this guy.
You know, like WWE, I think it was more so like, yo, I got to win this match. This guy's got a really, really good lock. I got to threaten head pinch, release, and look to run corner. That's the only way I'm going to get this lock to break. And so, I mean, I don't know exactly. I haven't even talked to him about it because there's nothing to talk about. It is what it is.
It was just
move on and move forward.
It was just a tough situation, which unfortunately for Trumbull, just like you were saying, whether he did it or didn't do it was a no-win situation in my opinion. So,
and he's a really good dude. He's the type of guy that's tries to not cuss, and he wakes up and does everything right. And
this guy has like an old school Army song as his intro song. I mean, if that doesn't tell you enough about this guy's character, I don't know what does.
He's a good guy, and respect to Bonacorski too. You know, from the tweet that I saw.
Yes, awesome, huge respect.
And so I like the way that situation ended. You know, not necessarily how it started. It's just unfortunate sometimes that athletes will get slack for competing, but. I like the way both those guys handled that. So,
well, especially
Bonacorski.
I'm sure any person who was given Isaac, crap for it. First of all, it was maybe a foot drop. I mean, it's not like he like had him like on top of his shoulders and like body slammed him. Like, he dropped a foot down. So, it wasn't like life threatening, but also part two, just like you said, anybody who talked to any wrestler who knows what they're talking about would have probably just said exactly what you said, saying, listen, he wasn't trying to like hurt the guy. He was just in a no-win situation that he was trying to play defensive. So, complete respect there. Again, for me, I think, just like you said, Isaac Trumbull and Bonacorsi are definitely going to be the two guys, that I think are going to compete. They're going to be 1 and 2 seeds. So, I mean, they're going to be the guys more likely facing in the AC championship match. And just like it was, when they faced him at Reynolds, it's going to be another great one again. And funny enough, I actually love it that these two guys, once again, are going to face each other again in Reynolds Coliseum, not even a month later. I actually love that. I think that's kind of sick. So, So
it'll be good. I'm excited for Isaac, man. He's an All-American caliber kind of guy. And so, Now, it'll be exciting to see him kind of hit his stride and put himself in a position to accomplish what he wants to accomplish, because he's absolutely 100% capable of doing whatever he wants.
And especially too because Bonacorsi is
time of the year,
and because Bonacorsi is a senior, Isaac Trumbull's a sophomore.
Right.
So, that's what I'm thinking as well. Is once again, Bonacorsi, he's saying, this is my last shot. This is it.
And
so,
Trumbull's got wins over Bonacorsi too. These guys have gone back and forth. So
it's gonna be a great one. I'm excited for it.
It's quite the style matchup too.
Yeah, no, they're very similar, very, very similar for sure. So now I want to move on to my guy that I'm telling you, I have been so exuberated by this guy. The fact that we have finally gotten, I think, what in-state wrestling has needed. Not any kind of shot whatsoever towards, the previous guys, between Gwiz and now with, Malik McDonald and all these guys. But just, I feel like that in today's day, first of all, to prove my point, Owen Trifon has been dominant this year, has been super impressive, but yet he's still not even in the top 10. Like to me, I feel like that just goes to show how deep the heavyweight division is in college wrestling these days. Yeah. And so if you're going to get a top 4, a top 5 finish in NCAA, you have to have a guy who is competitive nationally. You have to have it,
Yeah.
And now we finally have that guy. And again, this guy's only a sophomore. Again, so young.
Yeah,
So,
dude, he's he's actually roommates with Isaac. Him and Dylan Renner and
that was sick.
Isaac, they all room together. Those guys definitely challenge each other to be better, which is great. And I think too,
Mm-hmm.
a big thing for Owen, I think, was confidence and having some edge. And the biggest difference that I noticed from this year to last year is his confidence.
Mm-hmm.
That dude
Yeah.
has edge to him also. I like to mess around with him in the room and talk trash to him like, hey man, excited to put it on you today and, put some points up on you in live go. And he's like, yeah, what are you dreaming? He's like, he'll talk trash right back and he won't take any
Right.
of it. He'll come and he'll scrap as hard as he
Mm-hmm.
possibly can. And that's kind of what we've been waiting for, to see out of Owen is for him to really come into his own and start to
Mm-hmm.
really believe in his abilities because he's had great ability. He's
Mm-hmm.
always been quite the athlete. He played football also. For heavyweight, he moves well.
Yeah.
And so I think what you see with Owen is, if you're a fan trying to understand, what you see is a guy whose confidence is
Mm-hmm.
starting to fall in line and match his wrestling ability.
Right.
And when that starts
Mm-hmm.
to happen, it's a very dangerous thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, especially too with Owen, I think that, one thing which I've definitely noticed, not only just with Owen, but across NCAA wrestling generally recently, is I feel like there's been kind of a change in the prototypical heavyweight wrestler over the last couple of years. I mean, it's really gone from being these guys which are larger, to being guys which are just as quick as your 184, 197 guy. I mean, they're used to be. I feel like a lot of matches would be kind of like a 3-1, finish basically with like an escape at the beginning of the second, third period, and then a late takedown or overtime takedown to kind of win it all. But now, I mean, again, these guys they're quick. I mean, they're strong. They're not necessarily larger. And so I think with Owen, the thing which I love is it kind of fits exactly what you're seeing, like what you saw with the wrestler from Minnesota last year. That guy was a phenomenon, to say the least, for sure. But I think that, what we have in Owen Trayvon, which is funny on this sheet I'm looking at right here, actually lists him as a senior, but he's not a senior. He's a sophomore.
Yeah.
It's exciting to say the least. Again, to finally have a guy, which I think is not necessarily a Gwizdowski. A Gwizdowski, is a 2-time national champion, almost 3-time national
Three-time
champion.
finalist, yeah.
3-time
Two-time
finalist.
world bronze medalist.
But not to say that Owen's going to be him, but he's a guy that could be competitive at a national level. And if we're going to get a top 5 finish again, we have to have that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been super proud of Owen. I've been proud of all the guys just to see how they've started the year and where they're at now.
Yeah.
There's so much to be proud of, as a peer, as a training partner, as a mentor, as a competitor, as a fan, as a coach. It's across the board. There's a lot to be proud of when you look at the program from the beginning of the year to where it's at now. And yeah, I think Owen's just done a really good job. I've seen a lot of maturity from him, from him as well. That's one of the biggest things that I've noticed too. He's asking the right questions, and when you give him the answers, they're not just going in one year out the other. He's taking the wisdom and he's applying it, and that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed maturity wise from him compared to years past. He's applying the knowledge that you give him, and I think too that's super important for any wrestler. So
Absolutely.
If you're a wrestler out there listening, and
when
you're asking questions, just make sure that it's not just going in when you're out there. Make sure you're applying what you've learned and putting it to use, because it will make a difference. And I think
for sure
you're starting to see that with Owen.
Yeah. No, and again, definitely, couldn't be more excited. And the biggest thing which honestly stands out is that he's 5-0 in ranked matchups. I think to me that's that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome stat right there.
He looked lights out at UNC.
Well, and the thing which I love is the pit match is that,
the pit match, he looked phenomenal too.
Well, and honestly, the biggest thing which I love the most is that, when they had that close takedown, that would have sealed it, and and they didn't give it to him, and then Pat ruled it, and all the fans were booing when they they stand, with the call on the mat, and he was like, come on, like, it's all good. We got this. I got this handled, y'all. Let's go. Let's get the noise up. Like, I loved that. Again, just like you said, the confidence, man. The confidence on this guy is unreal. Like the fact that he literally like, hey, y'all, we don't need that takedown. I'm gonna get another one. It's gonna be all good. And what he do? He got the takedown, and he got handled. Like
it's everything, man. Confidence is everything in this game, and if you want to be the best, you gotta have it.
Yeah, well, especially if he's going to compete in the heavyweight for sure. He's got to have the confidence because he's got quite a road. But hey, he's got 3 NCAA tournaments to make it happen if he wants all 3. So excited to see what he's got there. But anyway, so again, Mike, first of all, I want to say thank you, man, for taking time to go through all this with me, man. I know this was definitely a little bit long, but again, man, just so much to talk about, man. Again, just like you said, this weekend's going to be so great for in-state wrestling. The rest of this year is going to be great, and the future is going to be so great for in-state wrestling. And we're all here for it, man. And definitely, it's cool to know that you're going to be doing some play-by-play for sure. And I do want to kind of ask you, do they kind of give you a talk per se in terms of like, because I'm sure they give the same thing to Hayden too, being like, you got to, not be biased. You got to call it both ways. If it was a great pin, by the Pitt guy, by the UNC guy, you got to, say, hey, great pin.
Yeah, so I actually asked because they didn't necessarily say that up front, but I asked, I was like, hey, do you want us to make sure we're as neutral as possible and not be biased? And they're like, yes. I'm like,
sure.
All right. And it's difficult, right? I'll catch myself, talking up our guys, when I did our first match I commentated my first match against the Army West Point. And I'm it's like, oh, man, that was awesome. And then I'm like, I think I've only been talking about NC State guys. And the Army guy's doing a really good job here, building up. If you notice what he's doing, he's got his elbow back. And so, I think it's more of just like making sure you're cognizant and keeping it at the forefront of your mind. But they do want us to be as unbiased as possible. But you know me, I'm gonna ride for my wolf pack every time. So
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, y'all. So again, make sure this Sunday, all day affair. Again, tickets are only like $20 per se. Show up early, stay the whole time, and just buckle up your seatbelts. It's going to be a doozy. It's going to be a fun one. So
fans are going to have a blast. If you haven't been to the ACC tournament before, you guys will have an awesome experience. So
and just kind of touch on it again, because I actually love it, the fact that you literally have 2 matches going on at the same exact time. So literally, you're maybe watching one and you'll hear a cheer and you're sitting there going, the guys are neutral, like, what's, and then you're like, oh, like, shoot, like, look, dude's in near fall, like, it's great stuff the whole time.
And the finals is a spectacle, man. The finals is such an awesome event to watch, part of the event to watch, because it's going to be good matchups up and down across the board. Just fireworks.
Probably top 10, top 15 matchups across the board if it goes that way. Across the board.
And it's just good wrestling, and it's competitive, and it all affects the team race. And, it's just fun, man. It's a fun environment.
And you'll see VT guys cheering for Pitt wrestlers when they're going against us. You'll see NC State guys cheering for whoever. But it's a fun one, y'all. So make sure to be there, and you will not regret it. I promise you that. But again, Ma, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much again, man. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday, man. It'll be a fun one.
Yeah, likewise, man. Appreciate you having me, and appreciate all the coverage you do for NC State wrestling, man. So
absolutely, man.
We're thankful, man.
Absolutely, man. It's our pleasure, man. Really. And, I love it that, even one of our own, Greg Legg, he came into this Tuffy Talk thing, not even knowing anything about college wrestling, but we got him, as big of a wrestling fan as anybody else, I love to see that for sure. But again, y'all, if you haven't already, again, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new Tuffy Talk content, any of our watch parties, any of our live streams, you name it. You won't miss out any of it. And that's free to do. So again, it doesn't cost you anything. It's free to do. So make sure to go and do that. And if you're excited about in-state wrestling, do us a big favor. Hit that like button. And also, too, make sure to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk now, Twitter, Instagram. We'll see y'all on Sunday. As always, go Pack, y'all.